This week on the Baseline Podcast, Josh and I are breaking down the NBA Finals. We're going to be talking about how the Pacers fell a little bit short and also have a huge injury to deal with. We also talk about how the OKC Thunder win their first title since leaving Seattle. And then we're also going to break down the NHL Stanley Cup. How did Florida do it? And what's next? All that and so much more coming up on the Baseline Podcast. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Podcast. I'm Ben. That's Josh. And we are outside in the heat. I'm kidding. We are not doing the show outside. Are you kidding me? It's literally 10:30 at night and it's like 82 degrees outside. It's stupid. All right. I was just at practice. It's hot. But anyways, enough talk. I'm complaining already when the show hadn't even started yet. But no, Josh, how are you doing? How was your week? I know it's a little warm over there in Ohio as well. What have you been doing? I'm sure working because that's basically what Josh does for a living. That's all he does. But what's going on?
Dang, I hope you work for a living too,
I
Ben.
do. I know that was a terrible saying, but
We ain't making any money on the podcast
that's
yet.
true. It's true.
But
True.
no, I actually yesterday was my seventh day in a row. Now I get next couple off, but this weekend was super hot, Ben. It was 125 degrees
Oh.
in the factory at its hottest. I think I drank
So
more
what do you
water.
do? So what do you do? So for everyone to knowledge, like what do you do to because obviously people know sports and like we drink water, Gatorade, and everything. What do you do
Sure.
in a factory when there is machines and everything going? Like how do you even stay like sane?
It's all down to hydration too, man. Replenishing lost electrolytes, drinking enough water. Like you can feel way different. I was starting to get a little I mean, I'm on night shift, so I get tired every now and then just because of the
Yeah,
unusual
yeah.
hours, but I was feeling a little more down than usual about halfway through one of them, and I drank 2 bottles of water and felt fine after that. But
Mm.
the day that I drank the most, it was almost 2 gallons of water.
I'm
And
sure
I
you
don't
had to pee so much.
a lot of it, yeah, but I felt great. That was the most I think I've ever drank of any liquid in my entire life. And probably these last 3 days, I've drank more water than I have the entire month of June combined. My closest friends know that I don't really drink water, uh, and hydrate that way, but it's an absolute necessity in situations like this. So got through it. The other thing with the heat is, thankfully, our line ran really well, and I didn't have to work terribly hard outside of my usual day-to-day things. But even just sitting there, it just physically drains you, just
Oh yeah.
having the
Being in the
sweat
heat. I
over and
mean,
over and over again. Yeah.
I get it because I'm in a school and like we don't have AC in the schools, man. It's just like it's like 98 degrees in the schools, and it is hot, and you like when you drip on the paper and you're just like oh, it's that kind of vibe, you know. But I get it. It's been hot here too, so yeah. But that's good though. You've enjoyed some good working hours. Now you get a little break, you get to relax, get to kind of just be there. I will say. I'm really regretting this coming up because we have on Thursday, I think here, like the high is going to be like 41. This is probably like 101 maybe ish degrees Fahrenheit. That's just outside and that's in the city. So it's going to feel hotter. And then we have practice that day, but then our championship game is at 3 p.m. on a Sunday, which when's the hottest time of the day, Josh? Like 3 p.m. I don't know what
Around
the,
two,
yeah.
three. Yeah.
I don't understand what they were doing there, but that's going to be super hot for our playoff game. I should say not championship game, our playoff game. So it's our semifinal playoff game, and we've already been telling the guys like hydrate up, stay liquid, have liquid stay in you, like try to keep doing all that. So, do I get it, man? It's going to be a wild week of heat, wild week of sports. And speaking of sports, Josh, we have a big thing to talk about today and it's really basketball oriented. Obviously, we'll talk about baseball and some other things, but basketball oriented. What's been happening? What's been going on? If you live under a rock and you haven't been paying attention,
Yeah, we have an NBA Finals champion that we crowned on Sunday.
yeah.
The Oklahoma City Thunder, Ben, the first championship in franchise history.
I mean,
Uh,
Oklahoma City franchises, or technically they have one with Seattle, so technically
Yeah,
it's
I
the same
was I
one.
was trying to read some into that a little bit. It sounds like there wasn't any like franchise agreement to continue on with the history. And if the NBA were to ever expand and there was like a Supersonics team that comes back in
Yeah.
Seattle, then they would continue that history. But this is like a new one because they also got not only a new city but a new name.
No, I get that.
It's the
Yeah.
reason why the Minneapolis Lakers, the Los Angeles Lakers can claim all their championships because I think they're still the Lakers. but
Yeah.
interesting point nevertheless. But the first, at least by a
In
team in the state
OKC,
of
yeah.
Oklahoma, yes. Uh, I hated seeing the way that Halliburton went down in
But we
that
all knew it
game.
was happening, dude. After he got hurt in game 6, I was like, something is going, like he's going to hurt that ankle again because it's already high risk now when you've messed it
Yeah,
up once.
everybody's saying torn Achilles. Seems like
No, that's what the report was. I read a
yeah,
report.
watching
It's
it, watching on
like
the video. I mean,
dark.
we've
Yeah.
seen him before, and you hate to see it because I mean, some of the guys like Kevin Durant, DeMarcus Cousins, other guys that we've
And did
seen
you see that the
with
last
injuries like this
three,
just are never the same.
Lillard number 0, Tatum number 0, and now Halliburton number 0 in the finals. So I just want to
That was
point
the
that out.
other weird thing. Yeah,
It's really
yeah,
weird.
a cursed jersey, uh, it would appear.
And also,
But
like, man, Indiana gave their hearts out, man. That whole series. Like, look, I'm a Cavs fan. My brother just moved to Indianapolis, so like he's there helping plant a church, and he was telling me, he's like, well, we're Cavs fans, but when we're here in Indianapolis, we're kind of like Pacers also. Like we root for the Papers when they're not playing the Cavs. And it's like I wanted the Cavs to be there because I think they had a good shot this year, but at the same time, like I was telling you this before we started recording. Like it felt like I had friends that said they watched the series. It felt like exciting to watch. It wasn't like, oh great, it's one of these big market teams. Like I don't really care anymore. It was fun to watch and to see OKC, seeing like Collison, who had his number retired, who's a special assistant to the GM, gets a ring finally in OKC. Like so many great storylines, and I think what McConnell did for Indiana and like all these different things. I think it just shows you like it doesn't have to be all about the money in order to have good basketball and competitive basketball.
yeah, we when we talked about this matchup initially, I thought that this would be a series the Thunder would win. I believe I called 5 or 6 games. And from watching that game one, just how Indiana had to fight in that comeback. I mean, it was the story of their whole entire postseason run
Oh
was
yeah, even against the Cavs, it was that
comebacks,
way.
coming from behind, fighting back. City's defense just looked so good, and Indiana looked like they were gonna have to earn everything. And I was like, they probably stole game one, but I would expect Oklahoma City to, cruise from here and go ahead and take care of business. But no, it goes to 7 games. So didn't expect that, but. Uh, as far as a success for the NBA goes, Ben, we talked about how the views were pretty bad early on
Mhm.
for this one. The NBA, we've talked about the marketing problem before and how the media seems to hate the league, but they numbers are out. That game 7 was the most watched NBA Finals game in the past 6 years, per Brandon Rybar from the Oklahoma City's media. And then overall, though, it still wasn't enough to overcome just, I guess, the overall lack of viewership. The 2025 NBA Finals averaged 10.27 million viewers, marking the lowest rated finals since the Spurs Cavs drew just 9.29 back in 2007, excluding COVID years. But
Yeah, yeah,
all that to say, I still think the basketball people, and you even were talking to me before the show that a lot of people really enjoyed tuning into this
yeah,
finals.
yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people. I think people that are from small markets or from a small town or like they're like they just hate big cities. I don't know what it. Maybe that's what it is, but just like Oklahoma City, Indianapolis, Indiana, like not places you think of like money, if you know what I mean. So that's really cool. I think that's why people enjoyed it. It felt like small town, that kind of thing. I think.
Maybe, yeah. Uh, Even just from the basketball standpoint, it was fun. We saw some. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the quote unquote NBA guy, which by the way joins some elite company, becoming I think the fourth player to win a scoring title, a regular season MVP, and a Finals MVP.
Yeah, yeah. He's one of three. I think he's one of three. Yeah,
One of three or four, and it's just like
yeah.
they're really trying to push this Shai Gilgeous-Alexander narrative,
I
man.
still I still like I heard someone say it it like it's nothing against SGA. It's nothing against
It's
him.
not. The guy's an
But
all-star. He's
but
he's definitely a top 10 player in this league, but
Jokic
just as number one,
Jokic deserved this MVP more than any of his other MVPs. More than any of these other MVPs he had. If this is what I always say, if Jokic had 0 MVPs going into the season and you lined up their two things, they would give it to Jokic 9 out of 10 times. 9 out of 10 times Jokic would get it. But because Jokic is okay, I'm not going to say he's white, but I,
he's
I
had 3 MVPs, so if he gets a fourth, he ties LeBron. And
and you don't want to do that. We would
And we've
not want to
seen the
have that happen.
media, they really get into this. Okay, let's let someone else have a turn kind of a thing. And it was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's turn. But I was just gonna bring up his game seven. He shot 8 of 27 from the field, and then ended up with still 29 points, but a lot of them were from the free throw line. Pretty on brand with the way that he plays basketball, and it's just kind of annoying to watch at times. But
Can we also talk about Hartenson's baby who was dead asleep after the game with crowd yelling and the music playing? This baby is just wiped out during the celebration. I'm like, I wish I could sleep like that. I wish I could just middle of everyone just be like, screw you all. I'm just gonna take this nice jolly nap. But
take a nice jolly nap.
well, also Jovic, I think I saw too. Jovic, Nikola Jovic for the Thunder. He played 0 minutes all season, gets a ring, and they compared it to Chris Paul, who's played 50,000 minutes and's got zero rings. And I was just
Oh my
like,
gosh,
I'm
dude.
just like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, that hurts. that that's just wrong,
yeah.
wrong in every way.
Well, as far as like aftermath for both of these teams go, we'll start with the champs, the Thunder. We know that the draft is
They got a
coming
ton
up in
of
about a
picks.
week,
They
and they
got a
got
ton
all
of
those
picks.
freaking first round picks, dude. And it's going to be interesting since they're already at the top right
I
now
think
at the
they have
roster.
to
They
give
got
away players though. That's the thing. Like if you draft two guys, you have to give away because you only have 15 spots. It's not like football where you can just stockpile these
Well,
dudes in
yeah,
your
I mean, there's going
roster.
to be some guys that they won't sign in free agency, and there will
Yeah.
be some guys that, might leave or they might even come up with a trade. These things happen. You can cut some guys that are more bottom of the barrel, but it is going to be interesting if they do end up packaging some of these first round picks to get a star player or if they like where they're at.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm kind of looking out for with OKC. And then I guess if I'm the Pacers,
You got to figure out what you're
uh,
doing, man. You got to figure out what to do with
got to
Halliburton.
figure out what to do, especially if Halliburton's probably going to
He's
miss
pro
the whole
he
entire season next year.
I would say if he doesn't miss the whole season, he would only be back like playoffs if you're lucky. That's I mean cuz usually it's usually I think it's like a 10 to 12 month injury as far as I know, which means that
About a
he
year.
so that means like that's 10 to 12 months without rehab, I believe.
Yeah.
So that means like he's probably going to miss the whole season. And like unless for some reason he does like supposedly Deshaun Watson or like some of these other guys that they've like kind of beaten it or where it's like 6 months. If it ends up being like 6 to 8 months, then you have a shot to be like he'll make it for the playoffs. But then again, do you want to risk it or do you just be like, hey, take this year off, get better? I think this means they're going to do a trade. I think they're going to have to do a trade. They're going to have to get someone.
That's what I was going to get into
I think they're going to
next
have to.
because even if Halliburton was healthy, this team, I still believe, really
No
lacks a
scoring.
true
They have no
leader
scoring
of
either.
the team. Yeah. Just to throw out a few things right here. Miles Turner, 6 points in game seven. Aaron Nesmith, 3 points in game seven. Pascal Siakam, 16 points. And then, of course, Halliburton only played 7 minutes, ends up with 9 points. But that's three of your starters right, or four of your starters right there. No one in the starting lineup top 20 points in game seven. And we've talked about how this team, not that it's role players, but they got a lot of good guys that gel together. But there's just not a
Just
clear
bothers me.
superstar
The Cavs
face
could
of
have
their
been there.
franchise. And it's like
Dadgummit.
that's what they're missing. And
Oh,
that's
the
what the
Cavs were
Cavs were
right
missing for a
there.
little bit. We felt like
Gosh.
until Donovan Mitchell came in and we were like, can he
Yeah.
be that kind of a guy? And he's become that guy. And I think the Pacers, while they have been able to get to a finals with the current roster that they got, I think if they're ever going to be, like a serious contender, like not being an underdog, having to come back and being able to be a team that
Yeah.
people are actually picking to win and that can win, I'd be going for a superstar if they can. Again, it's small market. It's hard to attract players to those places. We know that being a Cleveland fan outside of LeBron and Mitchell, there hasn't really been a whole lot that have come through. But I think that's got to be the next step for the Pacers, especially if they don't want to fall off next year. And with Halliburton down, all the more reason to go out and try to
And
get one of these big time free agents.
and you look at the Cavs, like the Cavs are not going to settle, and all these other teams. I think, look, the Pacers knew that this was their chance. Like when the Cavs got knocked out, when the Celtics got knocked out, like you as the Pacers, like like this is our chance. Like we either got to take it now,
That's the other thing
or
is that Tatum
like
is probably going to be out next year too with the
it's
same
true.
deal.
Yeah,
So they're not going to be at full strength either.
and that's where if I'm a Cavs fan, oh my goodness, I'm
Yeah,
praying
and
the
the fact
Cavs do
that
this
they've
right.
already Yeah, they've beaten the Knicks and the Cavs too. So at least from a locker room standpoint, I wouldn't be necessarily scared of those teams.
No,
But
but but
either way,
speaking of trades, by the way,
yeah, I was just gonna. That's a perfect segue into some
perfect segue.
moves that have already been happening. So the big one that happened was the Kevin Durant
Thank
to the
goodness he didn't.
Rockets.
Thank goodness he didn't go to the Spurs. I was gonna hate that so much with Wembanyama and Durant in the same. No, but I look this. You know, it's crazy. I'll let you get to the details in a second. I do want to point out before this. Supposedly, the Cavs offered Garland up in a trade deal to get Durant. Before we get into the actual trade, Josh, I want to get your thoughts on that. Garland was included. We don't know the whole details of the whole trade proposal, but from good sources, supposedly, Garland was one of the assets that the Cavs were going to put forward to get Durant. What is your thoughts on that? If that would
I
have
would have
happened.
been okay with it. I think that right now, Garland being 26 or 27, he's been in the league for 6, 7 years now. Like the whole inexperienced and youth argument for why he's soft and timid and uh, almost a coward in the playoffs, scared. Like that's not an
Who
argument that
else do you
I'm
think
I'm
would have been
willing to hear.
included? Who else do you think they would have included in that, you think, in order to
For
get him?
Kevin Durant at this stage of his career, I mean, I'll just go ahead and say the details right now.
Yeah.
What the Suns got was Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green, uh, the 10th pick in this year's draft, and 5 second rounders.
So you think the Cavs would have had to give up what? Garland, Dean Wade, probably.
Yeah,
Garland, Dean
I don't
Wade.
think that this is a trade that they would have had to given up like Jared Allen or Nevin Mobley, like we were talking about for a Giannis
Yeah.
Antetokounmpo
So
like
probably I'm thinking
trade.
like
But
my thought would be Garland, Dean Wade, maybe Ty Jerome. Like you might have to put those three in
yeah,
there. And like those are three guys that you can go in and replace. I mean, like because the only other guy that I think they might have done would be Hunter. I wouldn't have been surprised if the Suns were like, "We'll take Hunter if you're going to take our guy." But also with this trade with the Rockets stole Durant. By the way, they gave up a shooting guard to a team that already has two shooting guards that are their main scorers, which by the way is just mind-boggling that the Suns would do this. I mean, the Rockets truly got a steal, I think, here. Like what they had to give up. Like they gave up Jalen Green, okay, but like they gave up a first-round pick, which I mean, you got Kevin Durant to just go alongside with some of the great young dudes you have on that team.
yeah, I agree. Especially after looking at that trade that the Orlando Magic made before that to bring Bane over, they sent so
Oh,
much
I
over.
know.
And I was like, man, that's what I would have thought you would have had to given up to get Giannis. So using that trade in comparison to what the Rockets got, yeah, I think it is pretty good. And the Rockets were what the 2 seed in the West
And
this
they
year
just
with
need they needed a guy. They needed a dude. The Rockets
yeah,
needed a
it's kind
dude.
of like one of those things where it's like, and we can argue about how much Kevin Durant still uh can compete in this league at the age he's at. He's also one of those guys that's had to deal with the Achilles injuries before, but that's a guy that can do that for you, I think. And yeah, I agree. Like the 5 second round picks, I'm not missing those. You could have given 10 second round picks, and I wouldn't have cared about that at all. And then just losing Jalen Green, a bright young star from that you just got a couple years ago. Dylan Brooks, a solid role player. And then a first rounder for this year. That's going to be later in the draft. I'm not really worried about that. And just to bring up what Kevin Durant's still doing. I mean, 26.6 rebounds,
I know.
4 assists
It's
on
still
52.7% shooting at age 36. So you don't have him for long, but
well,
you
that's
do
why
have
that
him
made
now.
that's why like if they were the Cavs, I wouldn't have mind the Cavs give up Garland for him. So I'm like you get him for what,
Right.
2 to 3 years. You have to replace these role players, which you love these role players, but it's like you put Kevin Durant with Mitchell in the backcourt, and then you have Evan Mobley just do what he does and Jared Allen do what he does. Like that's an unstoppable front court. Now they have to stay healthy, and that's been the problem with the Cavs is they just can't seem to stay healthy. It's the same thing with the Rockets. I think the Rockets have to stay healthy. But look, Kevin Durant goes back to Texas where he starred. He gets to be the guy. And I think that's what Kevin Durant's been missing. Ever since he left OKC, he's always been like the other guy or the guy with this guy. Where now I feel like he can be the dude for at least a couple more years and kind of run off into the sunset. I still believe he's going to go play in DC, his hometown, once more. I still think he's going to end up there for at least a season. But yeah, we'll just have to see.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy looking back at what the Phoenix Suns have had come through and just
Dude,
how
the
their
waste of
front
it.
office has mismanaged everything, man. Guys like they've had Chris Paul come through, DeAndre Ayton, Michael Bridges,
Devin
Durant,
Booker.
Booker, Beal, and we talked about how they just go through head coaches like nobody's business too and throw out a lot of money at that. Like once this run is all said and done, this is going to be like I mean, this is the I'm trying to think of a team to compare it to, but just
The
so
Browns.
much talent, so much talent, so much mismanagement of assets and
Wow,
coaching.
sounds
Like
like the Browns.
I was gonna say almost like the Clippers, like when in
Yeah,
the Doc Rivers era when they
still sounds
had
like the
Chris Paul,
Browns.
Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, Eric Bledsoe, Chauncey Billups, all these guys come through and they never really won anything with them. But Rivers was a constant all the way through that, so they weren't
It just
on a
when you
coaching
said that,
carousel or
when you
anything
said that,
like
it just
that.
sounded like the Browns. Like as soon as you started saying that, I was like, that just sounds exactly like the
Well, the
Cleveland Browns.
Browns don't also get superstars to come through like that.
No, we just overpay for them. That's what we
Yeah,
do.
when we do get them, we overpay for them. But yeah, this Suns team, man, I'd be so upset
Look at Booker.
if I was
Booker's
a
like, what are
fan.
you doing? Booker's like, what's going on?
Yeah. There
Uh,
was one other trade that happened, I think today too. Let me go ahead and pull that up real quick. Yes, the Celtics are trading Drew Holiday over to the Trailblazers
who he
for
was just
Anthony
who was just
Simmons.
there like not too long ago
Yeah, he was traded over there and was there for like 4 days before he got traded, I think,
to Milwaukee, I think.
to Milwaukee or
Yeah,
Boston or one of those. Yeah. So they're bringing in Anthony Simmons, 26-year-old guard that averaged 19 uh, points, 4.8 rebounds last year. And Drew, I know, is getting near the end of his career at age 35, just averaged
great
11
locker room
points,
guy.
3.9. But yeah, I do think Drew was a very key piece in uh, the Bucks run that they had, the Celtics run that they had. But yeah, getting a little older, so maybe they just want
Also, they were
somebody
gonna have
that's
to
going to
pay
be
him.
able to
They're
come
also
in
gonna have to pay
young.
him 33 million. So I don't think they wanted to pay him 33 million.
And with having Tatum out in mind, like this is an upgrade from
Yeah,
Holiday to Simmons, so they do get a little bit better in this as they were going to need to. Uh, yeah, actually, Portland had Holiday before, and that was one of the pieces in the Damian Lillard trade.
yeah, and then he
Yeah,
got rid of
that's
him
right.
after that.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, so that's what's going on in the NBA. It's weird to see like three trades like that happen like around the
Well, no, it was
finals the way it did.
someone did a meme and it said like an OKC celebrating their championship, but yet Kevin Durant has to ruin OKC's joy again because he gets traded on the day of the finals. Like it was like some meme. The guy's like, you can't give us just one day where we can celebrate without you ruining something.
Also funny that when the Thunder were, running the West at the time when him, Harden, and Westbrook were all there. Now they all three have gone through to the Rockets.
I know and then there's an interview of Kevin Durant. They asked him like back in 2011, like, would you ever see yourself in a Houston Rockets uniform? He's like, never. Like, res- okay, athletes, you need to stop saying this on podcasts and stuff because it makes you look really stupid. Like, just be like, hey, I don't know what the future brings because you never know.
Yeah, they just mean right then and there. We've
Yeah,
seen money change minds quite a
and
bit.
he's one of them.
Miles Garrett, prime example too.
That is,
But
of course, he goes back to the Browns. Always goes back
yeah,
to the Browns.
so stay tuned, guys. We're gonna find out. Well, we're not gonna find out. Cooper Flag is gonna be the first overall pick
Oh,
in
well,
this
yeah, duh.
upcoming draft, but I guess with the way that everything else falls, is to be determined. But yeah, that draft is going to be coming up here in the next week, I believe. But I didn't have any.
Cavs, please make a trade. Just make some trade. Get somebody.
Would be cool. We definitely need
Just
it.
trade Dean Wade. I'm tired of seeing Dean Wade. I'm sorry, Dean. You're just
Get rid
really
of
annoying.
Dean.
You're
Get rid
really
of Ty Jerome. I
no.
wouldn't mind sending Garland away.
I don't mind Ty Jerome, but Dean Wade is just annoying to watch. Like I don't know what he does. Like he's like that kid in high school that plays the four that like all he does is set screens and like and passes the ball, but you're like, why is he out there more than me? Like that's what I feel like Dean Wade. And no offense, Dean. I'm sure you're a great guy. I just think you're just kind of a useless piece on the team, personally. When you have Amani Bates sitting in there racking up 30-point games in the G League and we're not even using them.
Yeah, that That's another thing. Will Bates
I
ever
mean,
get a bigger
it
role?
might be also because he's 6'9", about 205 pounds. So,
Very awkward, yeah. Chet Holmgren, even more awkward physique, dude.
dude, Chet Holmgren is, dude, that dude is the skinniest human I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't have anything else basketball
no, neither
related.
me, neither did I.
We'll shift gears here. We talk UFC every now and then, but absolutely has to be mentioned here.
The legend himself.
John Jones, greatest fighter in UFC history, I would say, and a lot of other people would agree with me. Steps down
Even
officially.
Khabib said that. Khabib even said that.
Yeah. Goes ahead and announced retirement over the weekend over the card, uh, or during the card, not during the card, but during the lead up to that. Hanging up the gloves for good. Dana White made the announcement that John Jones told him that he's retiring, so he'll no longer be the heavyweight champ. That'll go to Aspinall in that
People are
division.
trying to
But
say that he's a wimp to get out. I'm like, shut up.
that's what
This dude has fought in multiple weight classes and dominated every weight class he's went to. You can't say like, dude, maybe he's just seriously done. Like maybe his body can't go anymore. Like maybe he's truly just done, or maybe he's just struggling with something. He just wants to like leave the profession. Whatever it is, just leave him alone. Like
that's what I was going to get into next.
like
Is it's hard to say if this is a John Jones thing or if it's like a UFC thing. Because usually, if you know you're going to retire after a fight, like you go ahead and do that. But I always thought since, it's been a while since his last fight that we were going to eventually get another one scheduled eventually, and that's what he was hoping out for. But maybe he just never got the contract that he did. I know there's a lot of people that are saying that he's dodging Aspinall, and I mean, I think there might be
I mean,
some
Aspinall is a
substance to
freak.
that, but he is a freak. Also, when John came back and started fighting heavyweight, I was like, this is going to be sick because we are going to get to see him fight Espinal. Maybe him coming out of retirement will be enough to talk Francis Ngannou into coming back and signing a deal, and we can see a fight between them two. Maybe since John is, not naturally a heavyweight, he can cut down again to one of his old classes and maybe fight Alex Pereira. That could be a fun fight too, but unfortunately, we're not going to get any of that because he did make the announcement, and in his statement, he didn't really say. Uh, exactly why. I'll go ahead and read the gist of what he said here. He said, "Today I'm officially announcing my retirement from the UFC. This decision comes after a lot of reflection, and I want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for the journey that I've experienced over the years." And then he goes into talking about his career and, says his thanks and all that, and says, at the end, as I close this chapter of my life, I look forward to new opportunities and challenges ahead. MMA will always be a part of who I am, and I'm excited to see how I can continue to contribute to the sport and inspire others in new ways. Thank you thank you all for being part of this incredible journey with me. The best is yet to come.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. Like, obviously, we don't know what's in his mind, and maybe he truly is done. And if he is, either way, hats off to probably the greatest fighter we've ever. I think I'm not even saying MMA. I'm saying like fighter in general, like boxer fighter. Like he might go down as the top three fighter in ever to see, right? With Muhammad Ali, with Mike Tyson, like he might be up there because this dude was like scary. Like I've watched this dude and like even like when you watch Wilder or Fury right now in boxing, like I'm like okay, they're scary, like they punch hard, but like Jones looks like he's gonna just kill you. Like he just like if you ever just watch his matches, he just like the way he just like stares people and just like that smile, that grin, it's just like that's creepy, but it's just like he's just been so good for so long. And it's like, oh, you want to move up a class? Yeah, fine, I can do that. I'll win a championship, right? I win a title. Oh, I want to move down a class? Fine, I'll win a title. Like people don't realize like how hard that is. Like I'm thinking about even like football in this sense. It's like a quarterback saying, you know what? I'm gonna go play receiver for the next game. And the next game I
Yeah.
want to play tight end. No, then I want to play defensive end. Like it is so unreal for anyone athletically to say, I'm gonna cut 30, 40 pounds and still be as athletic, as dominant, with kicks that look like they would just take off someone's head.
Yeah.
Um,
Like he took a few years to build up to the heavyweight.
yeah.
Like,
So for
and
me,
Of course, John's career wasn't without
no,
controversy with some legal
of
trouble with
course.
some failed drug tests and
But
stuff.
who's
But
perfect? You know, who's
right,
perfect?
I was gonna go ahead and read some of the big stuff on his resume. So, two-time undisputed UFC lightweight heavyweight champ, and has defended that belt more times and more times consecutively than any fighter ever. So he defended that belt 11 times, defended it 8 consecutive, more than any fighter ever. He won the 205-pound title back in March 2011 at the age of 23 to become the youngest champion in UFC history. Has a career record of 28-1. That one being a no contest that was resulted in a disqualification for an illegal downward elbow back in 2009. But
That's just think about that. The only reason he lost was because of a
yeah,
supposedly downward elbow. Like
yeah,
that's
and
the only reason he
he was
lost.
going to win that fight, like the article that I'm reading says. So
Dude, the Duke could have been 29-0. And like people are
mhm.
like, like why do you say like I've told people this like he's the best. I'm like, why do you say that he's the best fighter? How many boxers do you see going from heavyweight to lightweight? How many boxers do you see doing that?
Yeah.
Not many.
Uh, this is a
Not
this is
many.
a resume of some of the guys he's beaten too. He's beaten Daniel Cormier. He's beaten Rampage Jackson. He's beaten Stipe Miocic. He's beaten Glover Teixeira, Vitor Belfort, like some of the best guys in the ring that we've seen come through in our lifetimes at least. But yeah, just a few more that we would have liked to have seen fight, but he was beating all the top guys in the sport when he was at his best,
Yeah. So
when he was competing.
hats off to the greatest ever, the GOAT. Truly, truly, he is the greatest MMA fighter ever. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people would fight that.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I
Yeah.
think we only have one last thing to talk about, and that's just a
It
little
would not
baseball.
be it
Little
would not be a
baseball
baseline podcast episode
without
without
some
a little bit
baseball.
of baseball talk. And before we get into some of the more fun stuff, you see Ellie De La Cruz throw up over the weekend on
Dude,
the
it was
field?
disgusting. It was
Getting back to
gross.
what we were talking about with the Heat earlier, man.
It's
Like,
gross. But also, since May 20th, he's like the best hitter in baseball right now, and it's so much fun to watch. He's cranking home runs like 480 feet. It's just awesome to watch. And he's finally hitting from the right side. So, you know what? That dude, by the way, hit a home run, I think, that same game. And then also, by the way, creepy, weird stat to go on the LA De La Cruz. 2 years ago, yesterday, he hit a cycle, right?
mhm.
Yesterday, he was a double away from the cycle on the same day 2 years later. So weird. So wild.
Yeah.
It's like the Ellie day.
So specifically for the month of June, Ellie De La Cruz is hitting 333, 422 on base percentage, 750 slug for a
Jeez.
1.172 OPS. He's hit 7 home runs, driven in 15 runs, uh, 15 strikeouts, of course, in
Of course.
72 at bats. But that still seems like it's a little
No, it's
lower than what
low.
it
No,
usually
they
is.
even said on the MLB Network, it's down like 20% from what it
But
normally is.
but this tear that he's on has brought his batting average up to 272. We really don't see it that high.
No.
861 OPS, it's 24th in the league. 18 home runs, tied for 12th in the league, and 55 RBIs, tied for 11th in the league.
Yeah, he will be the all-star for the Reds. That's just him and Abbott. I think Abbott might make it because
Gonna say
Abbott.
Abbott's got to be there, and Friedel might even
Well,
have a case
no,
too.
Friedel's not even in the top 20, by the way.
For
Austin
well,
May,
maybe not a starter, but surely on the bench, you'd think.
maybe.
But
I mean,
that outfield in the National League though is
yeah.
very
But
competitive though.
Abbott, though, Abbott is, dude, the problem is that he's just below, like, I think he's 2 innings short of where he needs to be for league leaders. So he's always chasing the league leaders because he's always just 2 innings short. So I'm hoping that he'll catch it up, but he should make it, yes. But yeah, we're going to
Andrew
talk about,
Abbott, 7-1 record,
yeah,
179
it's
ERA.
crazy.
Yep.
Well, speaking of the Reds, we did one of the news that is happening as we're recording this show. So it's obviously going to happen since it comes out. But Chase Burns, the number 2 overall pick from last year for the Cincinnati Reds, a guy who has been labeled as basically the next Paul Skeens. He's just as stud, like the way he did in college. And then this year alone, he started in High A at Dayton. He went from High A to Double A to Triple A within 4 months, about 3.5 months. And now he got called up. You know who his first starts against? Aaron Judge and the Yankees. What a way to say, welcome to the
Woo!
big leagues, buddy. So he's
Aaron
basically,
Judge, Paul Goldschmidt, Trent
yeah.
Grisham.
So, I mean, I love the guy. I mean, the way he's like always excited. He gets fired up after every strikeout. Um, the dude, by the way, his minor league stats in 13 starts, he has like a 177 ERA. Opponents are hitting 167. He struck out 88 batters in 60 plus innings in 13 starts. That's
Hmm.
that's basically the same stats as Skeen. They lined up Skeen stats and his stats. I'm just saying there's a chance that in the NL Central you have Skeens, Burns, Hunter Green. You add Hunter Green in there, and you have Mikowski
Jacob Mizraowski from the
from
Brewers.
from Brewers. You have three young 23-year-olds that are just going to be dominating for the next 10 plus
Yeah.
years in the NL Central.
The other thing, since you brought up Burns, I know there's some discussion amongst the Cleveland fan base on whether or not they made the right move drafting Travis Bazzana first overall.
And not Burns.
Be well, not even just because of Burns, but Burns is going to be making his MLB debut, the second pick. Nick Kurtz,
Already made
already in the
his.
league.
Yep.
He was the fourth pick. We just saw him hit a home run in this series against us last week. Jack Caglione, I
Hit a
think the sixth
bomb.
pick. Yeah, hitting some bombs with Kansas City. So like all these guys were just drafted last year and they're in the league already. That's
And Bazzana's
absolutely
in
insane to me.
double A, right?
Bazzana's in Double A. He also has an injury right now. It's got him out for 8 to 10 weeks. So I'm not holding that too much against him since it's injury related right now. But just how quickly everybody drafted after him has gotten to the league. It's just like, dang, did we really whiff? Did we whiff on this pick right here? Like, obviously, time will
I always
tell.
said they should have went pitcher. I kept saying they should have went pitcher last year, but they
I just
didn't.
didn't think that we needed to go pitcher because Cleveland just is generating pitchers usually.
Yeah.
Already. We don't really need to draft anymore, and the bats is what we lacked. So if you get a first overall pick, you might as well take the
I
best
would have
bat you
took Nick
can.
Kurtz though, man. Nick Kurtz is a
There was talk on whether or not Bazana should go first, but everybody at the time was excited about it. But now seeing like the aftermath, like I said, and of course that's with the benefit of hindsight, and we don't know. Maybe
yeah.
maybe Caglione, maybe Kurtz, maybe Burns will all end up being bums anyways. We don't know, but just want to point that out how quickly they've gotten to the league after just being drafted last summer.
But it also
And
shows you how college baseball is developing players now. They're actually developing players. It's becoming a minor league system because players get the NIL, they get the extra things that go along with it, and I think they feel like they can stay longer and develop. And I think that helps teams draft them too.
yeah, maybe there is definitely something to be said about that. Uh, but
There was
yeah,
one last big thing you wanted to talk about before we go today.
yeah. I wanted to talk about Cal Raleigh
The big
because
dumper.
the
The
big
big
dumper
dumper.
became the first player to clear 30 home runs this last week. I think he's got 32
32,
to lead
seven
the league right
shy.
now.
Seven
Yes.
shy to tie Barry Bonds for the most before the All-Star break.
Yes. The other thing I was going to point out is the last three players with at least 30 home runs in a team's first 75 games of a season. Barry Bonds, Luis Gonzalez, both did back in 2021, and Cal
2001.
Raleigh in 2025.
Yeah.
So I was going to go ahead and do a fun little exercise here because 2001, of course, is when Barry Bonds hit 73 home runs record
Yeah.
in a regular season. That probably isn't going to be touched anytime soon, just because nobody's using steroids anymore these days. That's at least not getting caught. But Luis Gonzalez that season ended up hitting uh 57 home runs. So fun little exercise I thought here is where does Cal Raleigh finish right now?
I think I'm
Does he
going.
finish in between that
This
57
is
and
the thing,
73,
though.
or is he
He's a
going to
catcher.
majorly cool down
This is the
here?
thing. He's a catcher. And catchers never tend to keep the same bat the whole season because obviously they have other things that go on. Unless they start doing more DH with him. I'm going to say, and I'm going to get ripped in the comments for this. I'm going to say he ends with like 53. I think he's going to have a slower second half. Now this is the thing. If he gets to like 40 in the first half, then scrap what I said. It's going to be like 70 home runs. I just don't think longevity with being a catcher, for some reason, and maybe I'm wrong, but you can tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like catchers tend to slow down in the second half or they speed up. I don't feel like they have a full season unless you're like Ivan Rodriguez or Johnny Bench. So That's my thought. I think he's going to be. I think I'll bump it up. I think he's going to be around 58. I think he's going to just be above Gonzalez, but I don't think he's going to anywhere near that 65 to 70 range. So I'm going to go 58. I'm going to keep it kind of low.
Yeah, I've been playing around with this in my head too because, like you said, catcher, there is a lot involved there. He's also a platinum glove behind the plate,
Yeah,
so it's not like you want him to DH too
exactly.
much. But baseball also just seems like one of those sports where it's like guys just go on
Look
these
at
like
Ellie. Look at
tears.
Ellie De La
It's
Cruz.
yeah,
Struggled the first 2 months.
yeah, struggled the first bit there. Byron Buxton's a guy that I won't say struggled, but has really heated up lately. Christian Yelich really heating up lately. Ronald Acuna on an
It's
incredible
the sport.
tear.
It's like golf. You
Like
can heat up
it's
and
a
you can
very
go on.
hot and cold sport.
Yeah.
So granted, we haven't seen a guy go through a stretch like this, obviously, since 2001. It's been 24
Also, the
years.
greatest
So it's
nickname, by the
incredible.
way. The greatest nickname. The Big Dumper. Like, it's just a great nickname.
When you look at him in the plate, you're like, oh yeah, that nickname fits.
Yes.
Yeah, the big dumper. But to finish my point, yeah, this is one of the most incredible stretches. I think that he's got to finish in the 50s at least by the end of the season. But
Just think
it's
about a catcher finishing with 50 home runs. Like, that's just
50
wild.
something home runs. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that he gets to
No,
60
I
because I
don't
do
think.
think that
I think
this
Judge
is a
a bold prediction. Judge finishes with more home runs than him. That's my bold prediction. Judge is going
imagine
to finish
saying
more.
that in spring training. Bold prediction. Aaron Judge finishes with more home runs than Kyle Raleigh.
Yeah, I
Of
know.
course. He's gonna push for the Bonds record, Aaron Judge is, but no, I think that Raleigh is going to still, the bat's not going to go away, but I do think the tear that he's been on lately is going to slow down. I'd be surprised if he reached 60. I'll
And
say,
and pitchers are going to pitch around him too.
yeah. I'll go ahead and say you said 53.
I said 53. I bumped it up to like 56. 56 or 58. I'm gonna
That's what I
go.
was gonna say.
I'll go 56. I'll just go 56. I said 58 earlier. I said 53. I'm gonna go in the middle. We'll go 56.
All right. I'm gonna go 58. I think that
Okay.
he finishes slightly above Gonzalez. I think I said he hit 57. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll put him in that company around like 58. But something that's going to be fun to watch for sure is that race. Going to go ahead and read the leaderboard right now in case anybody's curious. As we're recording on Tuesday today, yes, Kyle Raleigh leads the league in home runs with 32, followed by Aaron Judge with
He
28.
hit one against the Reds yesterday, so I know.
Shohei Ohtani with 26.
What does he only have? Like 50 RBIs? Shohei only has.
26 home runs, 49
Oh
RBIs.
God, it's
Yes.
so gross. That's so
Yeah,
gross.
you hate looking at that because it's like, man, that means 23 RBIs. Well, he himself is 26 of those RBIs. That means 23 are other people.
That's
Not that every
awful.
home run was a solo shot, but still, it's
It's
just like
just ugly.
it's so weird to see it because he's a leadoff hitter.
It's like Alfonso
Uh,
Soriano all over again.
Genio Suarez is actually fourth. He's been
Dude,
on a hot streak
Gino has
lately.
been raking.
Yeah,
The Reds
25
need to
home
get
runs from
him.
him.
Reds need to get him. I want him back. Trade for him,
And
please. We need a third baseman.
then finally, Kyle Schwarber at 24.
He's probably hitting about
So,
185. It's like he normally does.
249 actually.
Oh wow, impressive. No, I
Impressive
look,
for Schwarbs.
the Reds, this was so funny. As I was thinking about like, how much the big dumper's been doing. Dude, the Reds leading, they have two dudes that are over 10 home runs. Like, it's so sad sometimes being a Reds fan because like they're in the greatest ballpark to hit home runs. Imagine the big dumper in Great American. He'd be hitting like 60 home runs already. And the Reds just never get a guy that like outside of Eugenio Suarez a few years ago hit 49. We never get a guy that just like hits just bombs every game. I just wish we had that.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to
Great.
find your Adam Dunn again.
Dude, that was fun, man. When he hit it 500 feet dead center, that was awesome. That was like an epic game.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything else. We
No, I
touched
don't
on
either.
all the exciting stuff with baseball. But
Yeah.
yeah, sick
Football's around the
show.
corner, people. Football's around the corner. It
Yeah,
is.
next time we record it, or the next episode that'll come out will be in July.
Yeah. And I will also say, I will say, I know there's a lot of craziness going on in the world. Everyone be safe out there, right? As someone who lives in Europe, please be safe. Just, there's just there's a lot of crazy things happening. And that's why we talk about sports, right? Because sports kind of bring us together, hopefully, for the most part. Um, So, anyways, we'll be talking about, obviously, coming up in the fall. We'll have the Browns to talk about how bad they are and how they're like 1-6. Then we'll talk about obviously the Florida Gators and the Buckeyes over in the fall. But yeah, man, it's been a great week of sports. We have a new champion in the NBA. We have trades happening. We have dudes hitting bombers named Big Dumper. It's just, we're just in weird la la land, but it is truly fun to watch sports. And if you love listening to us and watching us debate and discuss and say Big Dumper on a podcast, never thought I'd say that. Then if you love that, click that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And if you love listening to us on Spotify, go ahead and make sure you leave us a rating there. And again, the Big Dumper. It's just ironic that that's what we're talking about on a sports show. I would love to do an episode where we just talk about random names of famous players. And maybe we'll do that coming up at some point. I just think
we gotta pull up nicknames from like the 1890s
Dude, we got
and early
to.
1900s.
We
Those
got
nicknames
to.
were
Like
crazy.
Pee Wee Reese. I'm sorry, Pee Wee. Please never call me Pee Wee. That just sounds terrible. I would hate that. But anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend coming up. Please stay hydrated, stay cool as best you can, and until next time, we'll see ya.